Peace, family. What's going on? What's good with y'all? YouTube is acting crazy. I don't know why I look like that. Hopefully it work out. We are here tonight to talk about the U.S. Census, and we're here to talk about our tribal census. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of backdrop about this to help you understand why our people might have a little apathy towards the census. It has a lot to do with our history. But I'm gonna let the folk come on in, share this video with your people, family members, anybody who's interested in nationality as indigenous peoples and in understanding why the census would be important or would not be important to fill out. So you can share that. Peace, family. What's good? So if y'all see me looking at different cameras, I got IG right here. What's this right here? That's Facebook. And this one is YouTube. So I got 3 cameras in here going just in case. So yeah, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about it from a matter of law, economics, and the whole stance. And I'm going to give you some jewels on why. So you will want to share this video because it will help folk understand certain things. All right. All right. I see folks piling in. So let's start with the apathy towards the census. The apathy towards the census is a historical apathy, and then people not wanting to do it is a part of a bunch of pseudo claims. So I have to deal with both. For those of you, let me see if I got a book here. Those of you who have this book right here, if you have this book right here, let's show it on all 3, you will understand why there historically was apathy towards the census. Historically. All right. So I wrote this book a while ago, and the book goes over our Aboriginal history in the Americas. You know what I mean? Why I wrote the book is because there was a lot of missing links in the history, and there's only a few people in our community leadership that touched on these points. All right. And so I thought it was good to write the book to give a full explanation of why we're saying what we're saying about our indigenous history here in the West. All right. It is not a book, a story that's well understood. So I wrote books about it. I wrote another book about it. Let's see. I wrote several books about it. All right. This is another book I wrote. My YouTube family, the Aboriginal, the Moor, the African. I wrote this book about it. All these books are available at governmentreparations.org. So you can get these books. All right. We even have an anthropology course. There's even several videos that come with buying this book so we can prove the history of the genetics and all of that stuff. But the most important thing I can say about it coming from this book is that our apathy towards the census deals with the first censuses that we were participating in. And so this goes back to the Dawes rules, Kerner rules, the indigenous removal acts that were passed under, and let's give it a name so you get familiar with it. Have you ever heard of the Trail of Tears? You ever heard of the Trail of Tears? Give me some thumbs up if you ever heard of the Trail of Tears. Yes, I mail books abroad. I mail books all over the earth. Japan, China, Africa, the UK, throughout the Caribbean. I get a lot of orders from the UK. Yeah, I don't know what debate you're talking about. All right, so you heard of the Trail of Tears. Now, the conventional history of the Trail of Tears was Indians being marched from different parts to go to Oklahoma and other centers to be counted in Native American census rolls. What you don't know is that the Trail of Tears is actually a war. And it was a war to confiscate land, to lynch some of our ancestors, and to also act like you're counting them in the census. All right, this was what the federal government and other associated parties were doing. This is pre-Civil War, and this is about assimilation, because of course there was a mass war that was continually taking place between Europeans and our direct ancestors. And so the apathy towards going and being counted on the census came from the fact that our ancestors knew that they were killing us to go to these native census polls. Literally killing. There's a whole history. I need to write a whole book on this. And so that apathy about the census passed down. All right. And it's something that is not hard to study. All right. It's very easy to gather the data about how these people were setting us up. They wanted the chiefs and the primary people who had political power in these tribes. Now, it was also about the exchange of changing the black aboriginals for the white ones who are on reservations today. And they are Eurasians. I don't care what y'all say. They can get upset with me too. That's cool. Y'all are Eurasians. Y'all are not aboriginal populations, you know, that are indigenous to this particular land. And we can go further with that comment, but I'll just leave it that part there. So let me give you an idea how this works. Look at this book. You see this right here? This photo is from UPenn Library. This is on Google. This is Taya Denaga, who was a chief. You see him? Look at it. On one, you see an original man. On one, you see a whole white man. I'm going to give you the names of the people, right? And so what were they doing? Let me show you. Let me show you what they were doing. I want to give you an actual photo of the people who first started this, all right? So when they were going to Oklahoma and these other centers to be counted, they were killing people off, and they were appointing white chiefs to be the heads of Choctaw, Cherokee, and all of these things. This is how you get the whole story, like Dr. Claude Anderson and other people tell, of Native Americans enslaving black people. But what Dr. Claude Anderson doesn't know is that we were the original natives. All right? That's the part that is missing. And so Greenwood LaFleur, John Ross, all of these people right here that I'm showing became heads of tribes with no lineage in the tribes. Absolutely no lineage in the tribes. None whatsoever. So our people had apathy towards going towards these census polls because they were being killed off. You know, from looking at your ancestors, you know, if you go to great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents, I was able to go back 8 generations. All right. Your family had land in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and they will tell you that they were sharecroppers. But what you don't know is that they owned the land, and, you know, pre and post Civil War, they lost the land to taxes, municipalities, etc. And they had to work on land that their ancestors owned. There were allotments given out under the Dawes rolls, like 160 acres per person who would come to enroll to the tribe. So they wanted to secure their land, but they were also being killed off. So it's a whole story behind that. So our apathy about I ain't filling out the census actually comes from that history. Now the other pseudo history, listen, don't come on my live with that. I got to take a sidebar. Don't come on my live telling me how to talk. Please. First of all you people who study in indigenous history, if it wasn't for me and the Empress, you wouldn't even have an organized situation. And she didn't even have an organized situation. She started the Washita and was the first one to start government in indigenous people's capacity and jurisdiction. And if it wasn't for me, this information would be wild and out of control. I promise you. So I got 2 decades in on, so chill. Don't tell me not to call myself black. We got our own jurisdiction, own definitions. Stay off the line. I have to take a sidebar to say that because I know there's a problem. Stop calling ourselves black. Black is a colloquial term. It's not a political term, right? It's not a political term. It's a colloquial term. It's like calling somebody tall or short. All right. So I can see we need some people to sign up for the law class. So it's important to understand that point about why we have the apathy. The second reason why we have apathy towards the census is because of these fake cyber Moors and fake indigenous people online who are telling you that you have no status in the USA, but they can't show you a government, a flag, an operation, people in capacity to operate government. They're just telling you don't fill out no contracts. They're giving you the spin, bro. It's just a spin now at this point. And so they're telling you you don't fill out the census because in order to fill out the census, then you have to be under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. First of all, you're in the United States of America. And so subject matter jurisdiction is automatic, homie. Even if you're not dealing with personal jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction is automatic. And you need to engage in contract here. How are you going to do it? Going further, we were the first people to create our own genealogy department. We have a whole genealogy department where we do genealogy searches for people and we record the data. And we keep records of the data and give those records over to the people so that your children's children won't have to do genealogy searches. They'll have all the information that is available from censuses and all that. So we have to use the U.S. Census to go back into the 18. I would have never found out my ancestors back in the 1830s if I didn't use the U.S. Census. You follow me? I found my great grandfather in the same city that I was born in, bro. Because they went and did the U.S. Census at that time. I was able to find his wife, his children. So I got a whole load of information to share with my lineage of people. Right? So we do need to do the U.S. Census. We need to do the U.S. Census because it is a record. And until we get more advanced in our investment in our own government structures, we need our children and our children's children to have a record of who we are. And it's a way to do that, right? It's a way to do that. The second thing is we have our own ARNA census. So when you go to the governmentreparations.org page, I'm saying this now because this is going to be announced to you. If you're in ARNA, you're on IG, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you can go to the governmentreparations.org page, go to the ARNA census link and fill out the census form. We're going to leave that open until December 1st. So you got, a little over a month to fill that out. And we'll keep, sending the messages, emails, all the ways that sharing them on the groups, etc., for you to fill out the census, the ARNA census. And we want to keep a census every 10 years, right? We're probably going to do it every 5 until the 20th year. But we want to keep a census of who is, part of our nation. And there's an easy way to do it. You fill out that form comes straight to our database, and we can save the information. We have all your updated contacts. There are people who joined 10 years ago, right? And they need to update their information. We don't have a good address, email, phone. And if you haven't gone and done a re-registration, we don't have that data. The census form, which is short, allows for us to keep that data. So what I'm saying is we need to be keeping our own data, our own census information in some type of database that's protected. ARNA has its own server. We went and purchased our own server so, we can secure and protect ourselves. And you can fill that out now. You can go right to governmentreparations.org and fill it out. All right. I'm not sure why that's like that. Is it working? Oh yeah, it is working. All right, cool. I think I'm on the wrong page on my live, but I'll save it on YouTube. Yeah, I see what happened. So I'm gonna have to switch accounts. Let's see if I can switch this live real quick. YouTube.